Okay, so let us start with today's class. Okay, so in the last class, is the screen visible and my voice audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in the last class, we started about this performance testing, and we studied about this stress testing, and then we study about this volume testing as well. So I think we studied about this stress testing, volume testing, and we studied about these two testing, right? So I will start from the configuration testing today. You do not need to write your names in the chat box because from today onwards I will be sharing the QR code while taking class. So you people mark your attendance there only. Okay. So under this performance testing, the third category of testing is configuration testing. Now this configuration testing, it is used to test the system very behavior. It tests the Swati, Marshall, Faraz, you do not need to write your names in the chat box because I will be sharing the attendance while in the class. You people mark your attendance there. Okay. So configuration testing does what? It tests that whether the system behaves properly or not in the various hardware and the software configurations which are already specified in our SRS document or in our requirement document. So suppose I want to make the customer or the client wanted the company to make a app which will run in Linux also, which will run in Android also, which will run in some Windows operating system also. So these are the three sets, different sets of configurations that the client wanted the app to be worked in. So this testing will configure that this system that is built, it whether it is working in different configurations for different users or not. Okay. And sometimes it may happen that suppose I am making one payroll management system. Sometimes a single user can be the moderator, sometimes two users at a time will have the privilege of a moderator or the admin side. So like this, there are some configurations attached with each and every product or service we want our company to develop for us. So those configurations will be checked in configuration testing. Okay. Now the next one is compatibility testing. Now what does this compatibility testing do? It is required when So by external system, we mean what? We mean suppose a database, suppose a server, suppose a printer. Mm, So suppose the printer. So these are the different sets of external systems. Okay. So this compatibility testing, it will aim at to check that whether the interfaces with the external systems, they are performing as required or not. Suppose if the system needs to communicate with a large database in order to retrieve some information, then the compatibility testing will check that whether it has the required speed and the required accuracy of the data retrieval or not. Suppose I want a printout to be taken after this from the printer. So I will check whether the connection with my printer is working or not. So the app will tell me. So this is the concept of compatibility testing. That is, when my the system which I am developing, it requires some external interface with some external system, then it should also check the speed, the accuracy associated with that performance. Okay, so these two are the new types. The next type is regression testing. Okay, now regression testing is required when a software is maintained in order to suppose some bugs needs to be fixed, or we need to enhance some functionality or performance. So to fix some bugs or enhance the functionality or the performance, and so on. So suppose one app is working and we need to do some modifications. So it may happen that due to that modification, some bugs arise. So we need to fix that. It may happen that I want to provide some extra features in my app. So for that also, this type of testing is performed. The next category is of recovery testing. Now, what does this recovery testing means? Recovery testing means that it will test the response of the system. So it will check or it will test the response of the system to the presence of some faults. Suppose loss of power is there, loss of some devices or services or data is there. So this loss of mentioned resources, and it checks whether after this loss, whether the system recovers satisfactory or not. So sometimes you will see that suppose you have a UPS backup, and after the power cut, up to some time it gives you the backup, and then automatically your computer gets shut down. And when the power comes, you need to check whether the work which you left unfinished, it automatically saved, or what is happening. So it will check the response of the system whether the system recovers satisfactorily. That is up to the user. That is, I was doing some work on the my Word, and I forgot the Control S button to press. then whether my work is has been automatically saved or not. So now the versions of documents we have, those have the automated saved version, right? So this type of response to the system, it will check that whether my system, like the, suppose the printer is disconnected, and it is noticed that in order, when the printer is disconnected, the system is hanging. Okay, and suppose forcefully we are shutting down the power to see that whether what amount of data has been lost or what amount of data has been corrupted. So these are the forceful things which we will do in order to see that how my system is recovering up, whether the level of this recovery is satisfactory or not. So for checking this, we will test my system by suddenly taking the printer cable out from the computer, or suppose shutting down the machine abruptly. So these all the tests we perform forcefully. That is our main motto, is we will forcefully stress our system, so that we will take the conditions that due to this stressing what is happening, and what are the measures we need to take in order to stop these things to happen, right? So these two are the new ones. So the next one is maintenance testing. Okay, so so this maintenance testing, it will test the programs or the procedures that are required in order to help the maintenance of the system. Okay, so for maintaining of the system, the procedures and the programs are required. So those extensions will be checked upon. 1 minute. The next is the documentation testing. Now in documentation testing, we check what? We check whether the required. So in documentation testing, we do what? We check whether the required user manual is there, whether the maintenance manual is there, whether the technical manual is there. So all the manuals which are to be supplied with the product or the service, whether all these manuals they exist or not, and also whether they are consistent or not. So the, if the requirements specify that the types of audiences for which a specific manual should be designed, then the manual is checked whether it is complying my requirement or not. So whatever the user has given the requirements, suppose for user manual there should be this thing should be included. For maintenance manual, this should be included. So all these things which it is described already, so whether that thing is maintained or it is complied, and also it is consistent or not. So these are the things which are tests in documentation testing. And next is usability testing. Now this usability testing, it is related to user interface. Okay, by user interface, you know, the GUI part. Okay, So it will check the user interface and it will see that if it meets all the user requirements that are concerned with the user interface. Suppose, for example, during this usability testing, the display screens, the messages, the report formats, and other aspects which are related to this user interface requirements, so they are all tested. So, what major thing is this GUI, na, this being just being functionally correct is not enough, because this GUI needs to be checked against the checklist which is provided in my SRS document. That is the GUI which the user has longed to have, whether that GUI is there or not. Okay, so the display screens, the messages that it will show, the report that it will make, whether these are all consistent or these are all according to the checklist specified in the SRS document, that needs to check. So suppose if I want to build a OS, just building a OS won't be justifiable. I will have to build the OS according to the requirement of my client. Exactly what is specified in the SRS document, that needs to be delivered to the client. Okay. So this was about the usability testing. Then the last one is the security testing. Okay. So as we all know that this security testing, it is essential for softwares, because especially for those softwares that handle or process some confidential data, that is to be guarded, right, against some unauthorized access, some security breach, it needs to be guarded. So it definitely, for those type of software especially, it needs to be tested whether the system is foolproof from security attacks such as intrusion by hackers and so on. So, if my software is involved in handling some very confidential data, then definitely I need to check my system that whether it is foolproof secured from the hackers or not. Okay. And if you have noticed, for like over the past years, so a large number of security testing techniques have been proposed, right? There is a password cracking mechanism, then there is they use some specific ports for cyber security purposes and so on. And this field is still it is evolving. So this is the concept of security testing. I won't say that security testing is needed for all type of softwares, but for those softwares where the client will handle a large amount of confidential data, suppose for the banking software especially. So those type of softwares needs to be foolproof from the security aspect. So a lot of mechanisms are there. So that security checkings need to be performed on those softwares. Okay. So this was all about the performance testing part, the 10 types of testing that is done in order to check the performance of any software. Now, with this, your module 1 is finished. Like according to the syllabus which you have, your module 1 is finished. Now, we will move on to the next module, that is, we will be doing the software reliability module. So before starting the software reliability module, so do you have any questions from this module which we have just finished today? Like from the first class to this class, whatever I have discussed in this module, do you have any question? If you have, you can ask. Okay. So in the meantime, I will be sharing the attendance. Okay, I will be sharing the attendance a bit later. Not an issue. Okay. So no one is asking any questions. So I think you people do not have any questions from this module. Okay, so we will move on to the next module. Our next chapter or the next concept is software reliability and quality management. So this is the chapter which we will start today, the next module. Okay. So this reliability of a software product, as we all know, is a very important issue for all the users, because these users, they not only want the products that they purchase to be highly reliable, but for certain category of products as well, they even require that a guarantee on the reliability of the product is made before purchasing. That is, suppose you have gone to buy a mixer grinder, you will first read the reviews, you will first ask it's reliable, then he will give some proofs of this reliability and all that. So before making the buying decision itself, you are before this making the buying decisions now, you are checking that whether it is okay to rely on that product or not. Fine. And especially this is very much true for some safety critical products, like some tools which will involve some uh, loss of some any of your body parts if it malfunctions. Suppose the CNC machine in mechanical workshop and so on. So the tools which are very much critical, safety critical, and the softwares which are embedded software, suppose if it doesn't run properly, it will crash your entire laptop or entire PC. So for this type of systems, it is very much important to first understand whether that software is reliable or not, or it is very much important for the organization to make the client believe that whether the software is reliable for them to use or not. And also at the same time, it is very much difficult also to accurately measure the reliability of any software product. Okay. And one of the main problems that why it is an issue in order to measure this software reliability, because this reliability na, it is an observer dependent thing. Why it is an observer dependent, I will tell you. So reliability is basically an observer dependent. Why? Because suppose uh, suppose there is a library management system. There the user will only see that whether that book is present in the library or not, and whether I am being able to uh, issue that book or not, maybe. And the library manager or the librarian, he will check a lot of things. He will check whether he can add new books or not to his catalog, whether he can issue that book, or to check whether that copy of that book is already issued, or to check how many copies are there in the library, whether user, he or she has any outstanding fees to make the payment, or he or she has not yet returned any particular book, like so on. So maybe it's such that the librarian needs to check a lot of things from using the same system. But using this same library management system, the you from the user or the student perspective, the student doesn't need to see so much. So it may happen that the module on the student part, it is working okay, perfectly. Then the student will say, yes, I will rely on this management system because it is working okay, I am not getting any error. But if it is checked from the library side, it may happen that the librarian is facing errors in order to create multiple copies of the same book also. So he will say that no, this management system delivered from the company is not at all reliable, because I am facing a lot of errors. So, if you see from these two perfect perspectives, the student will say that this is reliable, but the librarian will say that this is not reliable. So it will become an observe dependent. So this is why this checking or this software reliability concept, this checking is very critical, or it is very much difficult also, in order to accurately say whether it is okay or not. For 100% surety, with 100% surety, before starting that software or before starting to use that product, no one is able to say whether it is 100% okay or not for all types of users. Because as I just discussed, this reliability concept, it is observe dependent. So there is not any proper metric in order to entirely determine whether or measure that the reliability exists or not. But definitely some metrics are there that are presently being used in order to quantify the reliability of any software product. Okay. So, in this module, we will be focusing on the that metrics which are used in order to measure the software reliability. But once again, those measures are just measures, but it won't guarantee you 100% checking. It won't happen ever. And then we will address the reliability growth modeling, and we will examine how to predict, like when we will be able to check a reliability, how we will be able to check a reliability, like so on. Okay, fine. 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute. uh, so I will now give you the control to give your attendance. Is this screen visible to you? Is this screen visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so you people mark your attendance. Those who are present, you people mark your attendance. So everyone is able to mark their attendance. Is there anyone who has not been able to mark their attendance? Okay. Okay. So we were talking about this software reliability, right? So the reliability of a software product, it will denote what? It will denote the trustworthiness, right? Or the dependability, that whether that software can be dependent upon or not, whether that software can be trusted or not. So when we use this word reliability, so reliability of any product, it will defined as the probability of the product working correctly, like over a given period of time, whether my product is working correctly or not. So it is very much obvious that a software product will have a large number of defects if it is unreliable, right? And also it is very much reasonable as well to assume that a reliability of a system, it will definitely improve as the number of defects in that system is reduced, right? So it has been experimentally somehow observed and proved that when we talk about any product or program, two sections are there. One is the core of the program, that is those parts of the program which are accessed very frequently. Another is the non-core part of any program, that is those part of the program that are not accessed that much. Suppose in a payroll management system, suppose in a payroll management system, you people have to pay to all the employees. So the payment part is very accessed a lot of times. So the payment part will consist of the calculations of how many days he was present, how many days he was absent, how many casual leaves he has taken, how many medical leaves he has taken. So all these things are related, uh, all these things are related to the payment payment role management system. Crucial part, it is related to the payment of each employee, because after a few deductions only the payment will be made. So that will form the core part of the system. So more emphasis will be given to make that core part of the system more reliable. And in non-core part, what may fall? Suppose the documents of the CL part, then some suppose one employee is there, his or her address part. So these are the non-core parts, because for payment we are more concentrate with the account details part and not the address part of the employee. Because when I am giving employment to someone, already the Aadhaar cards, PAN cards, we are all checking and giving it a innumerable number of times, right? So this will fall under the section of non-core part. So if the non-core parts which are very seldomly accessed part, those parts have still some errors, then also that software will be very much reliable. But if the core parts have the slightest error, then also the software will be not reliable at all. So as you can see, it is clear that the quantity by which the overall reliability of a program is like measured, it also depends like in which part the error is occurring. Okay. So suppose if I, let me change the color once. Suppose if I remove any error from this core part, then it will look like I have done a major improvement. Okay. So even if a single error is removed from the frequently used part, so that will look and that will show us up as a large improvement has been made. And even if a lot of errors are removed from the non-core part, on the other hand, from the parts that are rarely used, it may not cause any appreciable change to the reliability, because non-core itself, if it has some issues, still it is not hampering the reliability of my software so much. So, based on this discussion, we can say that this reliability of any product, it depends not only on the number of latent errors but also on the location of that error. So, reliability, it depends on number of errors. Definitely, it will depend on number of errors and also the exact location of errors, because our motto is to increase our reliability growth curve. So for that, we first need to remove the errors, and we first need to remove errors from the core part itself. So where the error is occurring, that is also very much important. So this reliability depends on how the product is used, and also on its execution profile. So, suppose if the user executes only the correctly implemented features, then none of the errors will be exposed, and it will be perceived that the reliability of the product is high. And again, on the other hand, if only those functions of the software which invokes the errors, or which contains the errors when invoked, are used, then a large number of failures will be observed, and it will be perceived that the reliability of the system is very low. So, different categories of users of a software product, they execute different functions of a software product, and therefore, so it is a very much difficult thing to say that whether the software is 100% reliable or not, because this reliability figure itself, it is an observer dependent one, because just the example which I have given for library automation software. Okay, so the students think that it is bug free, but the librarian thinks that it has errors. So it is very much difficult to absolutely quantify the reliability of the product. Okay.